Hey, what's up guys? My name is Moda and welcome back to the Mining Stacker YouTube channel. Today's video we're going to talk about these new SIA coin miners coming from GoldShell. So there is two new releases. It's the SC5 Pro as well as the SC Lite. So we're going to go over them, we're going to talk about them, we're going to look at profitability and talk about why this is such an extremely confusing release, right? We're going to go over why that is, and it's for a multitude of reasons, right? So we'll talk about it here in a second. So if that sounds good guys, stay tuned. Let's get to this thing. So first off, the main reason they are even releasing this thing and the reason it's even kind of getting traction is because SIA coin has been on a nice little run, right? Ultimately, it's close to like a 4x recently, right? So it went down from these slumps down at 0.0028, 29, somewhere in that region down to a penny, right? 0.012, so give or take about a 4x. Which has been a nice little increase, so the profitability has gone up pretty significantly, right? So when you go on like mine the ASIC, it's been catching people's eye because if you look at the SC6, nearly 14 bucks a day, right? And it's just because of that huge jump, so that's what getting people's attention. That's why GoldShell decided to take advantage and release some miners, okay? So, two miners. Let's talk about the main guy first, the SC5 Pro. Which right off the rip seemed kind of confusing because it's like, well, wasn't there a SC6? And yes, there was. So yes, this is a step backwards from their current premium model, which is one of the first things that is extremely confusing, right? But let's look at the specs. 11 terahash, 2,820 watts, 256 joules of terahash, right? And this is in full power mode. So comparing it with the SC6, which is the newer version, right? And it's, I say newer version, this came out September of 22, right? So borderline almost a year and a half ago, okay? This one is 194 joules of terahash, okay? So it's extremely weird that they're releasing even more outdated chips, right? Because if you look at the specs, it's not a whole lot better than some of the things that were released way long ago, right? Even like the HS5, 277 watts terahash. Yes, it's an improvement, but is it that big of an improvement for something that's 3 years old? Not so much, right? So that's the first thing. The other one is the SC Lite. This is 4.4 terahash, 950 watts, 216 joules of terahash. So this is a light version. This is like that thing that's back there. This is meant to be easier for at-home miners. You can plug it in anywhere. The one thing I will say about this form factor, it is the perfect form factor if you're using it like as a heater, right? It's the right amount of wattage. It's not these like 200 or 300 watt things. Like one of these units can actually act as a legit space heater, right? So one positive thing there as far as profitability goes, not so hot, right? So let's look at the big guy first. That's the main one we're going to focus on. When we look at profitability, it's kind of weird, right? So if we look at it here, we plug it in, 11 terahash, 2,820 watts at a 10-cent kilowatt hour, $14 a day in revenue, $7.70. Looks pretty decent profit-wise, right? So again, the biggest thing though is the fact that it's just old chips. This is my biggest gripe with it though is the price. Okay, GoldShell has not officially listed on their website, but a lot of the vendors have. Okay, so the consensus seems to be somewhere between $3,800 to $4,000 for this thing. Okay, and again, this is not the flagship model. Okay, the SC6 is, but they're not re-releasing. This is actually a model that was never released, but they're going again backwards. Okay, $4,000. What makes it extremely confusing is that some of the vendors and stores still do have, number one, the SC6 available, and number two, the HS6 available. Okay, for example, on Crypto Miner Bros, $4,000 for the new SC5 Pro. They do have the HS6 here for $2,400. Okay, so let's look at the specs for the HS6. The HS6 is 10.6 terahash, 2350 watts, 221 joules of terahash. Okay, it is better than even this guy in low power mode. Okay, so again, 10.6, extremely close to the 11, so it is slightly under. But look at the wattage difference. Okay, 2350 versus the 2820. So how the heck does it make any kind of sense that this guy down here is 2,400 bucks, this guy's 4,000? Okay, this is why we're saying it's extremely confusing, especially if you're able to find these guys, which some of the stores do, and some of the stores that don't, they have them listed for pre-order. Okay, some of them also have pre-orders for the SC6s, so expect when this guy restocks the SC5 Pro, expect the others to restock as well. Probably going to be a significant increase in the price points though, right? We'll see what GoldShell officially does, because I'm sure they'll try to restock all of them. Okay, we'll see what the price points are. But currently, if you're able to get one of these, if it's something you are interested in, these are definitely 100% the better deals. Okay, and even if we look at the smaller guy, look at the SC Lite, 4.4 terahash, 950 watts. It's not a whole lot different than buying two of the SC Box 2s. Okay, so the SC Box 2, 1.9 terahash, so if we were to double it, it's 3.8. So yes, it's under that 4.4. It'd be at 800 watts. Okay, 210 watts a terahash versus the 216. So very close. You would be slightly under, but at a fraction of the price, right? The SC Box 2, when it came out, it was $399. It was available for quite a while. This guy, so again, two of those would be 800 bucks. This guy looks like it's going to come in between $1,800 to $2,000. Okay, so again, Crypto Miner Bros has it. Nhash has them listed, BT Miners has them listed, and it's all within that price range, right? These guys do have it at 16, but that's extremely 1,600. This is without the shipping, so it's probably going to be in line with like Crypto Miner Bros price. So extremely high. I expect a price hike on all of these models, so whatever stores do have them, expect an increase. So again, if you are interested, you're going to be better off buying one of these other models on eBay or finding them used or finding them wherever versus buying this guy new if this is the price, right? Realistically, you do want to wait next week. Next week is when I believe they're going to list it, so we will find the price, but basing it off of all the distributors who do have it on there, all within the same price range, chances are it's going to be within that range, right? Which is extremely high, and in my opinion, extremely risky. Risky. Reason I say it's risky, right? Profitability looks good. That looks good. My beef with it is the fact that it's older chips. Okay, so yes, like the SC6, for example, is cream of the hill, or is king of the hill. But again, this guy came out September 22. Okay, the SC5 Pro isn't much better than miners that came out 3 years ago. Okay, who's to say that we don't see a repeat of the Bitmain situation where somebody comes out, doesn't even have to be Bitmain, but let's say another manufacturer comes out with newer chips, doesn't even have to be crazy newer, just at least a generation newer, and blows these things out of the water. Okay, again, because these are such old chips, it is possible if somebody releases a 5 nanometer version, it'll blow these things out of the water, similar to what we saw with like those things. Okay, this is the kind of jump that can happen because this is old hardware. Okay, hopefully it doesn't happen. Hopefully when you guys do jump in, or you did jump in, you got a little SC Box 2, you got a SC6 last year. Hopefully it does not happen, and it's possible that it doesn't, right? This isn't a very popular coin, very popular algo. Who knows? The one standout to me, though, where it does seem like it is extremely possible, and for, I would say borderline likely, is for IBeLink to release one. Okay, this is one of the algos that IBeLink does release. They did not release a new model for SIA coin. They did release one for Cadena, the BMK3. They did release one for Nervos, the BMN3. They never released a bigger version of the SIA coin miner. Okay, also they did release these new little box miners. Same thing, they released one for Cadena, they released one for Nervos, not for SIA coin yet. I say yet, they may not, but they did kind of leave us on a little cliffhanger at the end of November. They don't really post a whole lot, but on their Twitter, the last thing they posted as far as news goes, and this was already after the minis were announced and officially there, please stay tuned for new miners we will release in the future. This was November 28th. Okay, and again, the one that's missing from their typical lineup are the SIA coin miners. Okay, so do not be surprised to see one here. So for those reasons, again, to me, pretty extreme risk, especially with these bigger ones. Like, to me, the one that makes definitely 0 sense is the SC5 Pro. Okay, again, you're going to be better off, instead of getting this, again, getting a freaking HS6 for like 2K. Or even a lot of these, this is again, well, also doesn't make any sense. They have pre-orders available for like the SC6 SC at $2,700. Okay, again, this blows the freaking SC5 Pro out of the water, and that thing's almost 4K. Okay, so who knows if these are price holders, but these things have been available. Again, they've been out for well over a year. Who knows, right? I think we're going to get more clarity next week when we see these price hikes, and I'm sure these guys will find in line. So again, if it's something you're interested in, the opportunity would be to get it now, right? Would I recommend one? Would I get one? Would I consider getting one? Hell to the no, right? But again, if you're inclined to do so, again, this mainly benefits people who already had one. If you did, you know, buy like a little SE box too, because out of the new box miners, that is the one that definitely held up, right? That one was profitable this whole time, and now with this pump, if you had been stacking it, turned out very good, right? For you guys who did get on that one. But as far as these new things go, bro, the price is, in my opinion, way too freaking high. Way too high. Especially in that price range, guys. For 4K, there's so many good options, right? You go and mine the ASIC, you have so many freaking options currently in that range, right? In many cases, even way cheaper. Okay, so just something to definitely consider. It's one thing if it was a year from now and you didn't have all these options, but literally all these things are in stock, all these things are available, they're there to get. Okay, so there will be in a time and place where GoldShell will thrive, you know, starting as soon as like the end of this year, when these things are hard to get, when every single Bitmain is sold and you can't get anything else, then this is where they thrive, right? So yes, although right now, definitely no go at all. And 8 to 10 months from now could be a whole different story, right? So even these other ones, even these like little KD Box 2s and KD Box 3s, how we're trashing them now, they don't make any sense now. They could make sense in the future depending on where the price action goes and depending on what's available. Because yes, even like with the IBeLink, the BMK3 right now, looking a little bit better with this little Cadena pump, but it may look a lot better when the KA3s are all sold out, and when they do come in, they're like 12 to 15K. This is where these things may shine. Again, depending on price action, depending on where the hash rate and difficulty is, a lot of variables, but this is where some of these gold shells may make more sense, right? Because again, a lot of them do not make any sense right now, literally, right? Both figuratively and literally, but they may make more sense in the future, right? It's just going to be a ton of variables. It's kind of the main reason I never sold that thing, just with the anticipation that maybe if we get a lot of price action towards the end of this year, maybe the second half of this year, because even right now with this little Cadena pump that's actually been holding, even with all this downtrend, it's getting close, depending on your electric rate, for it being close to break even. And again, that's my goal. Break even or fairly close, and I'm good, right? So we'll see what happens, but realistically, these things right now at this price point, if that's the price point, again, we're not 100% sure, but it looks like that will be it. To me, 100% no go, right? So it's just sort of purely up to you. It's not financial advice, but just based off of what we're looking at, for those reasons, 100% no. Especially because it seems like they're kind of almost like thriving on the newer people, or making it like super confusing, because it is extremely confusing having to see this. I'm like, wow, they're going backwards. That doesn't make any sense. Why would they go backwards? And you have to go in and actually look at not only the SIA coin miners, but also all the handshake miners and see which ones they mine. Because even one that's not listed here that actually did just get released, which is like the HS Box 2, right? Which is kind of weird because again, they're already on the 3s. So most likely this one was probably supposed to come out last year around the time the Antminer HS3 came out. So they probably said, we'll just store them and wait for a pump. And this is probably why they're coming out now, right? So it's not even handshake pumping or anything. It's because of the SIA coin pump, right? So kind of a weird turn of events, but this guy, they did just release it. It is actually available spec-wise for SIA coin, which is what would be the most, not necessarily realistic, but the most appealing. 1.2 gigahash, 325 watts. So again, to equal, give or take about what you would get on the Lite, you would need about 4 of these. And even then, that's $1,200, and this thing is available now. Okay, it'd be what? 4 of these would be 4.8 at about 1,200 watts, right? So a little bit less efficient, but definitely a good chunk cheaper in price, right? So Some stuff to think about, but I mean, unless you're super bullish or you're super confident that there's going to be no competition, IBeLink will 100% not release one. Pretty risky, bros. Like, this is super outdated stuff. Like, again, it's just, to me, because of that, it's extremely high risk. Like, I would feel more comfortable jumping into literally almost anything else besides this just because of that, right? We all saw what happened. We covered that thing for a year with, you know, Cadena and Nervos and what happened there. So, stuff to think about, guys. Please consider that, especially at that price point, right? If it was, instead of it being 4K, if it was like 1,800, 2,000 bucks, then it could make sense, right? It could be worth the risk, but definitely not at that price. Maybe honestly, even at a cheap price, even at 1,000 bucks, I would not consider it. Maybe the SC6 at like 2,000, 2,500 bucks, but realistically for me, it's for the reasons of it being just such old chips, I would not even consider it, right? So it's totally up to you. I know a lot of these videos, it seems like we're bashing GoldShell, and in some cases we are, especially that stupid ass watch that they released. That was just icing on the cake, especially all the people who freaking shilled that, especially after how dirty they did a lot of the people with the little box miner releases last year where they were not honoring the warranties. They were shipping out duds and asking people to pay $350 shipping to ship it back when they received the dud that was only 300 bucks to begin with. Super crappy, right? So this just on top of it adds to the frustration. So it's nothing against GoldShell, it's just specifically with these releases. Again, there may be a time, most likely in the bull run, where they will become relevant. Even these old miners, it's possible that they do become profitable. Time is going to have to tell on that front, but from the perspective of buying these now, would I recommend them at all? Me personally, if somebody asked me, hell to the no. I would stay away completely, right? So totally up to you. Let me know what you guys think. Are you guys interested in these? I am interested in SIA coin miners if they will release a SC7, like something new, but just to try to rehash this old stuff, definitely not appealing, right? Let me know in the comments, guys. Let me know what you guys are thinking. If you guys have any GoldShells, how are they holding up, right? If you guys have been mining on them for a year or two now, or are they unplugged? Are they just sitting like this thing? Let me know in the comments, guys. All right, guys, please comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, guys, and I am out.